Okay, so ready to dive into this whole never give up thing.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, we all hit those walls sometimes, right?
Absolutely.
But what I find so interesting is it's not just like some motivational fluff,
Yeah.
There's actual science behind why persistence pays off.
Right.
You sent over this fascinating clip from an English learning program, and it uses a quote from like the poster child for never giving up, Mr. Thomas Edison himself.
Of course, the light bulb.
Exactly. I'm really curious to see how they frame it.
Yeah, it's a classic quote.
Yeah.
Our greatest weakness lies in giving up. The most certain way to succeed is always to try just one more time.
Powerful stuff.
But it's interesting how often we kind of misinterpret what weakness really means there.
Oh, yeah, totally.
Yeah.
I think we often beat ourselves up for not having some like magical talent or skill.
Exactly.
It's like, I'm just not a math person.
Yeah, I'm not a baking person.
Or, well, whatever, right?
Right.
But Edison's saying it's not really about that, is it?
Not at all. I think what he's getting at is that giving up is a choice. Like any choice, it becomes a habit.
Okay.
Every time we surrender to that urge to quit, we reinforce a neural pathway in our brains.
Oh, wow.
That makes it easier to quit the next time around.
So you're actually training your brain to give up more easily.
It's almost like building a muscle.
Oh, I get it.
But for giving up.
Instead of perseverance.
Right, exactly.
Ooh, that's a really good way to put it.
Yeah.
It's not that we're inherently weak people. It's that we've accidentally trained ourselves to be quitters.
Exactly.
Okay, so how do we retrain these brains of ours then?
Right.
Is it really as simple as just trying one more time?
I think that one more time principle is a really powerful starting point.
Okay.
It's about shifting our focus
away
from this overwhelming big goal to just that tiny, manageable next step.
Okay.
Even if that step feels ridiculously small.
So like if I'm struggling to learn Spanish, it's not about becoming fluent overnight.
Right.
It's about just like showing up for that Duolingo session one more time.
Yes.
Even if I feel like I'm getting nowhere.
Precisely. And that ties into this concept that psychologists call a growth mindset.
Oh, yeah, I've heard of that.
Have you?
Yeah.
It's the belief that our abilities aren't fixed. They can be developed through effort and practice.
Like you're not stuck where you are.
Exactly.
You can grow and learn.
Yeah. And each one more time is like a tiny deposit.
I like that.
Into that growth mindset bank account.
I love that analogy.
Yeah.
So it's not about being some kind of prodigy.
Right.
It's about just proving to yourself that you're capable of learning and growing, even when it's tough.
Yeah.
Okay, but how does all of this connect back to the English learning script you mentioned?
Oh, yeah.
Like what makes it so special?
Well, I think it cleverly uses language learning as a microcosm for any challenging endeavor.
Okay.
It acknowledges the frustration.
The moments when you feel like you'll never understand grammar
For sure.
or pronounce words correctly.
Tell me about it.
Right.
I once tried to learn Hungarian.
Uh-oh.
Let's just say it did not go well.
And that's exactly the point.
Okay.
The script normalizes those struggles.
Okay.
You know those moments when you just want to throw your textbook across the room?
I've been there.
Yeah. And then it reminds you that every learner goes through those phases.
Oh, that's reassuring.
Right.
Yeah.
And that pushing through those difficult patches is what actually builds fluency.
I see.
Both in language and in life.
So it's about recognizing those I want to give up feelings.
Yeah.
But not letting them dictate your actions.
Exactly. And the script actually goes even further, offering viewers concrete exercises to put this one more time philosophy into practice.
Ooh. Now that's where it gets really interesting.
Right.
Yeah, what kind of exercises are we talking about?
Because I think we can all use a little practical help in this department.
For sure. So one exercise that really stood out to me was they encourage you to pinpoint your biggest weakness when it comes to learning English.
Okay.
And then instead of shying away from it, they actually ask you to set a very specific goal related to that weakness.
So like if my pronunciation is a weak spot, my goal could be to record myself reading like a short paragraph out loud every day.
Exactly.
Even if it feels cringy at first.
Yeah, and that's the beauty of it. It's not about immediate perfection.
Okay.
It's about those consistent small steps that chip away at that weakness.
You're building that muscle.
Exactly.
Okay.
The script even suggests sharing your goal with someone you trust.
Oh, interesting.
For accountability.
Oh, so you're not just like battling that giving up muscle alone.
Right.
You're enlisting some backup.
Exactly.
I like that.
You know, it's funny. There's something really powerful about externalizing goals.
Oh, for sure.
Like writing them down or telling someone about them.
Yeah, it makes them so much more real and tangible.
It does. It really does.
And then not just in your head anymore.
Yeah. And by framing it all within the context of language learning, the script makes it feel less intimidating. Right?
Oh, yeah, totally.
It's like, okay, I'm just trying to improve my English.
Right.
But really, you're training your brain to be more resilient in all areas of life.
You're like sneaking it in there.
Exactly.
You know, like a little Trojan horse.
Right.
This whole thing reminds me of that study on grit.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
By Angela Duckworth.
Yes. The power of passion and perseverance.
She found that it's not just talent that predicts success.
Right.
It's this combination of passion and perseverance.
Yes.
It's about sticking with something, even when it's hard.
Even when you don't see those immediate results.
Exactly. And I think that's what's missing from a lot of those motivational sound bites.
Oh, absolutely.
You know,
yeah.
It's not just about never giving up.
Right.
It's about understanding why we give up in the first place.
Yes. And often it's because we haven't developed those grit muscles.
Oh, that's interesting.
You know, that ability to tolerate discomfort.
Oh, yeah.
And keep going, even when we just feel like quitting.
I feel like we're so conditioned these days for instant gratification.
Yes.
That we forget that real growth takes time and effort.
So much effort.
You know? And the script even ends with a line about how your future self will thank you for trying one more time.
Oh, that's a good one.
It's like you're making an investment.
Yes.
In your future resilience.
I love that framing.
Yeah.
Especially when we're talking about tasks that don't offer those immediate dopamine hits, you know?
Right.
Like learning a new skill or building a business.
Those can take a long time.
Yeah. It's really hard to stay motivated when the payoff feels so far off.
I was actually thinking about that phrase.
Yeah.
Your future self will thank you. What if we like flipped it around?
Okay.
What if we took a moment to appreciate
I like this.
all the times our past selves didn't give up?
Oh, that's good. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Instead of focusing on some abstract future reward,
right.
We're cultivating this like very real gratitude for the challenges we've already overcome.
I love that. What comes to mind for you?
Well, I remember when I first started this podcast.
Oh, yeah.
I was terrified of putting my voice out there.
Really?
Oh, yeah. I was convinced no one would listen.
Wow.
But something in me just kept saying, one more episode, one more interview.
That's awesome.
And now here we are.
Right. But it's not just about the podcast itself.
Right.
It's about the resilience you cultivated along the way.
Totally. And that resilience is something I can carry with me into any new endeavor.
It's a superpower.
It is. It really is.
Yeah.
It's like that old saying, the only way to do it is to do it.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
The more we practice showing up, even when it's uncomfortable, the stronger that never give up muscle becomes.
And that brings us right back to the power of specificity.
Oh, okay.
You know, it's not just about vaguely wanting to be more persistent. It's about identifying those one more time moments in our daily lives.
So someone's listening to this.
Yeah.
And they're like, okay, all this never give up stuff sounds great in theory.
Right.
But how do I actually apply it?
Right. How do we make it practical?
What advice would you give them?
I think it comes back to that idea of breaking things down, you know, into those manageable one more time moments.
Right.
What's one specific thing someone listening could do today to like flex that persistence muscle?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Right.
I think it's got to be something super concrete.
Absolutely.
You know, not just this vague idea of like, oh, I should be more persistent. Okay, so think about a goal you've been putting off.
Okay.
Something that feels kind of intimidating or overwhelming.
Yeah.
Maybe it's finally starting that side project.
Oh, yeah.
You've been dreaming about or having a difficult conversation you've been avoiding.
Or
even just cleaning out that cluttered closet.
That counts.
Right.
Absolutely.
We all have those things.
Yes, we do.
Okay, so we've got our daunting tasks.
Right.
Now what?
Well, that's where that one more time principle comes in.
Okay.
Instead of focusing on the entire project, just identify the smallest possible action you could take today. Forward.
Okay, so if it's that side project, maybe it's just spending 15 minutes brainstorming ideas.
Right.
Or researching materials.
Exactly.
If it's the difficult conversation, maybe it's just jotting down a couple key points you want to address.
You're making that initial hurdle so ridiculously easy that you can't possibly say no.
You got to trick yourself almost into taking action.
And you know what's interesting?
What's that?
Often, once you take that first step,
okay,
even if it's tiny, it creates this momentum.
Oh, that's so true.
Suddenly, the whole project feels less daunting.
Yeah. It's like that saying.
What's that?
A journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step.
Oh, yeah, of course.
But I think it's even more specific than that.
Okay.
It's about finding the right first step.
Yes.
The one that feels achievable
right
now.
Like you can do it today.
Today.
In the next hour even.
Exactly. And I think that's where a lot of people get tripped up.
Totally.
They set these huge, ambitious goals.
Yeah.
But they don't break them down into those bite-sized actions.
Right. And then they get discouraged.
Oh, for sure.
When they don't see immediate results.
It's like expecting to run a marathon.
Yeah.
Without ever having gone for a jog.
Right. You got to train those muscles.
You got to work up to it.
Yeah, and sometimes those one more time moments aren't even about achieving some external goal.
Oh, interesting.
Sometimes they're about choosing not to give in to those negative self-talk patterns.
Oh, those are the worst.
Right.
Yeah.
So instead of telling yourself,
like, I'm terrible at this.
Yeah, it's about saying, okay, I'm struggling, but I'm going to give it one more try.
I love that shift.
Right.
It's so powerful.
It's huge. It's moving from that fixed mindset of I can't do this to a growth mindset of I haven't mastered it yet. Even when it's hard, we're building that resilience.
Totally.
And proving to ourselves that we're capable of more than we think.
So much more.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's wrap things up.
Okay.
Let's go back to that amazing quote by Edison.
Yes.
Our greatest weakness lies in giving up. The most certain way to succeed is always to try just one more time.
So good.
It's a simple message.
Yeah.
But it holds so much power.
It really does.
And it's a message that resonates across all areas of life.
Right.
Whether you're learning a new language, building a business, or simply trying to break a bad habit.
Absolutely.
That one more time principle can be your secret weapon.
Love it.
So the next time you're feeling discouraged, remember that giving up is a choice.
It is.
And so is trying again.
Choose wisely, my friends.
Choose wisely.